Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for this first Monday of March 2nd. It's amazing how quickly this year is going by, isn't it? But it's a beautiful year, and it's good to be here. Today, I'd like to share with you some words taken from Wholehearted Faith by Rachel Held Evans, who was a young author who died really early in life, but was a prolific writer. Really good. Some people love her stuff, some people don't, but I really think it's worthwhile to read it just to figure out if you do like her stuff. So there's a challenge there. Rachel Held Evans, Wholehearted Faith. There's two parts I want to share with you. There's one is a poem, um, longing that's talking about longing for a God who kneels down. It's written by Daniel Ladinsky, and then a paragraph that she's written herself. This is the poem. I think God might be a little prejudiced. For once he asked me to join him on a walk through this world, and we gazed into every heart on this earth. And I noticed he lingered a bit longer before any face that was weeping, and before any eyes that were laughing. And sometimes when we passed a soul in worship, God too would kneel down. I have come to learn God adores his creation. A poem was written by Daniel Ladinsky. And Rachel goes on to say, I wanted to be cherished by God. I didn't want God to look at me and only see Jesus. I wanted God to see me, all of what God had created, and all of what life had wrought. And I wanted the same for my fellow human beings, every face weeping, every eye laughing, who, despite Jonathan Edwards' sermons and John Piper's blog posts, I still believe to be worthy of God's love simply because they existed, all 7.5 billion of them. I don't know about you, but the partway into Lent, partway into this season of Lent, with still another month to go and a bit, I can start to get feeling pretty overwhelmed. I can start to feel the depression of this time, of the deep thoughts, of the hard stuff hanging on. But reading that poem and listening to Rachel's words, they're a reminder to me that I am not in this alone. At no point is God said to me, because you are in your Lenten season, you must walk the path by yourself. You have to do this by yourself. As a matter of fact, God had said, because you're in your Lenten season, I more than ever will walk with you now. Let me rephrase that. God is saying to us, I more than ever will help you feel that I am with you now, because God is always with us. But in this Lenten season is an opportunity for us to be able to say, to really pay attention and listen and to feel God's presence as we recognize that God is with us, looking into our eyes as we weep, laughing with us as we laugh, kneeling down beside us as we worship. Not that God needs to worship God's self, but because God enters into our experience of living, our experience of being who we are, simply because we are God's created. God's fingerprints are all over us. We were made in God's image, and God is right there with us in everything that we do. God adores God's creation, and we are God's creation. Let me read that poem one more time. I think God might be a little prejudiced, for once he asked me to join him on a walk through this world, and we gazed into every heart on this earth. And I noticed he lingered a bit longer before any face that was weeping, and before any eyes that were laughing. And sometimes when we passed a soul in worship, God too would kneel down. I have come to learn God adores his creation. She refers to a couple of people's sermons and a blog post about people who seem to refer to God as a judgmental God. And what she's saying to all of us is really questioning that. Is God a judgmental God? Or is God a God who's right there with us? despite the judgment, not worrying about judgment, being present with us and saying, here I am. I'm not judging you. I am right here with you. I will weep when you are weeping. I will laugh when you will laugh. When you kneel down to worship, I will kneel down beside you, and I will wrap my arms around you, and I will hold your heart. Which God would you want? The one that tells you if you don't do everything perfectly, if you don't give enough money or do enough good works that you're going to go to hell? Or the God that joins us and walks through the streets and looks in our eyes and stops longer for weeping or laughing, who joins us as we present ourselves in the vulnerability of worship and wraps God's self around us as we do so. I don't know about you, but I know which one I choose to believe in. I want to walk with that God who takes extra moments to see the one who is weeping, to look into the eyes of one who is laughing. I want to feel God's arms around me as I kneel down in worship. That's a God I can believe in. That is the God I do believe in. And I hope if you haven't already experienced that God, that soon you will. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. I will see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel.